Lance, what was your biggest takeaway?
I'm not totally convinced, Skip, that this season's going to be any different than the previous two. I just, maybe I wish they would show, like, more. I wish they, because Skip, you remember Mike McCarthy said, like, man, everybody's really quiet. It's going to be the pad day. I want to hear somebody fire
first day
in
pads.
Mm-hmm. And I know that's a tiring time, Skip, because the way Mike Shanahan, my previous coach in Denver, Skip, it was always the third day. Okay, now you're really, really sore. So you really got to get your mind prepared to thud it up.
Yeah. He was talking about the calm before the storm. Yeah,
Skip, I want to hear somebody getting it up. Let's go. Let's fire it up.
Okay, but that was you.
Yeah.
That's what you provided.
Okay, well, who there for the Cowboys?
Maybe there's not anybody yet, just yet.
So
I'll get to my answer.
Okay, yeah. But so for me, Skip, I'm not convinced. Maybe as we progress, we'll see more of the guys play. We'll see what they look like in the preseason game.
Yeah.
And so we'll get a better sense of what they have, because I don't think any of the starters played any in the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game. But Skip, I just want to see more. I don't know. Maybe it's a different time. Maybe the guys. I just came from an era where guys were getting fired up in training camp, because you had to do that, maybe because they don't need to be fired up. They're only practicing once a day. But, Skip, it was a grind. You know what it was like to be out there 2.5, 3 hours, twice a day, hitting. Ain't no walk through. Walk what? Pads, full pads, full tape to the ground. So you got to get somebody had to get us going. I want to see that from the Cowboys. I want to see that fire. I want to see that passion. Somebody on the defense, on the offensive line, take the offense or defensive side of the football, take the Bulls by the horn and says, let's go. Because your coach, you're going to talk about the coach.
Oh, are we? Okay. I have a whole lot to say about what I saw and did not see last night on Hard Knocks. Number one, biggest takeaway. You predicted that Jerry would dominate Hard Knocks. He did not dominate episode 1. Maybe he'll dominate other episodes, but episode 1, he was just another player. Yeah. I'm talking about playing a part.
He definitely did not. He did not feature as much as I thought he would.
Okay. But when he was featured, we got to see Jerry operate as the GM of the team. He is the GM. He is on the phone with the trainer. Oh, well, what's going on?
But, Skip, you know good well owners don't do that. Owners don't call the trainer.
Okay, but he is still operating as the owner and operator of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
And you got to see him in action.
Yes.
Question Mike McCarthy. How's Dak? He doesn't call him Dak. He calls him Prescott.
Yeah.
How's Prescott's arm? What do you think? And the problem when I watched Jerry, and again, I've been around Jerry in those situations many times before. He's still not fluent in football. It's like he still doesn't quite get it. He can't speak it very well. Where it's always a little awkward and a little off kilter, right? Like it doesn't come across as convincing, right?
Right.
As he's the GM of the team. He's not cool with the way he's expressing himself. Right. And then weirdly, it shows him he's got some little hamburger, or was it a breakfast?
That's a breakfast sandwich. Did he put salt on?
He's putting salt on it. And I'm saying, Jerry, if you want to last much longer, he's always talking about his mortality. Maybe you shouldn't salt that thing.
What did Jerry, 78, 79? Yeah, he's like, man, I'm going to go out and be happy.
I don't care. I'm just going to eat whatever I want to eat, and I'm going to salt away, right?
I think it's plenty salty enough, because that looked like it was sausage.
I think it was. Okay, so that's the Jerry part of it.
Right.
But I told you yesterday, I predicted this, and I'm giving you credit because you predicted before the draft the best defensive player in the draft is Micah Parsons, said Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Famer. And you just might be right. Again, I thought Patrick Surtain Jr., son of a great cornerback in the NFL, I thought he was the perfect fit opposite the other Alabama cornerback that we have, that he would be the bookend corner, and here we would be set for the next 10 years at cornerback.
Right.
And your Denver Broncos stole him right ahead of us, and he will be a bona fide star for your Broncos.
He's looked good in camp there.
He has. Okay, he's just a stud. But listen, Micah Parsons, he is going to be the breakout star on and off the field. And when you talk about somebody out there to get him up, he was getting the rookies up before pad day, before the first pad day. But he's not a veteran yet, so he doesn't have any respect.
Yeah, he doesn't carry the cachet.
Not yet.
Because he's a rookie.
Not yet. But they show him sitting next to Leighton Vander Esch on the bench, and Leighton's a little threatened by him because he says, he turns to, I'm paraphrasing now, it came off, but he said, you're trying to make every play out there in the Hall of Fame game. You're trying to make every play out there. You should just make the ones that are yours.
Right.
He's trying to tell him, hey, Rook, stay in your lane out there.
Well, Skip, I think the thing also is that sometimes when you try to make all the plays, you run yourself out of position.
Okay, which he did in practice once, and then Dan Quinn was getting on him during the game on the phone.
You got to get wider.
Okay, you got to get wider. He's just freelancing, and he admits it. It's just see ball, chase ball.
Right.
But all of his gambling will pay off because I promise you, I'm on record. I'm going to predict this. Micah Parsons will be the biggest reason they win the NFC East this year. I'm not predicting any more than that, but they will be a playoff team because they will win the division because they will be much improved on defense starting with number 11, a rookie, because they don't have that. They've never had that. It's been years since they had somebody who will fly around and make plays like that.
Skip, his talent is undeniable. When you look and you see the things that he can do, you're not to be that big, that fast, and he's sudden. He's sudden. Now, Skip, he's gonna make some mistakes because he's a rookie.
Yeah, and they're going to take advantage of his over-aggressiveness.
Exactly.
And gambling.
Exactly. It's just like, Skip, you saw the one-on-one. What did the fullback do? Hit him with an out and up because he know, I will get this play, I will make this play.
And he just turned to him and said, good route. Okay, all right, because you got me. You got me. But I loved his nature with the way he was interacting with his rookie teammates because they're starting to follow him. And you could hear it's the first practice, and you could hear somebody yell out, holy bleep. He is fast, right?
Yeah.
That man is fast.
Oh, you can tell.
He's
you can
flying.
Tell.
And all you need to do, it's a weird number to pick. He said he wanted number 1, but Cedric Wilson had it. He said, I could have had number 1. But he's number 1-1, number 11. It's kind of a weird number for that position, but I'll take it. Right? So he's going to be the breakout star on and off the field, and I think he's going to dominate the next 3 episodes of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, and Skip, I think the thing is for when you watch him, you can tell that he has natural leadership skills.
He does.
He just happens to be a rookie, so he's not going to be he's not going to be in that role just yet. Right. But I also, Skip, I think for me is that going back and looking at training camp, and a lot of things when I'm watching these, it reminds me because I remember my first 3 or 4 years in Denver, Skip. That's what we had to get to practice. We had bicycles, and as a rookie, I didn't know anything about that until I got there, but I didn't have enough money to go buy no bike anyway, so I would just steal the vet's bike. Just like Zeke stole Dak's bike, I would steal the vet's bike, but it would cause some conflict. Bro would want to fight you about stealing their bike.
Well, is it really their bike, or did they just sort of take ownership of it? Isn't it like a camp bike?
They're the camp bikes, but guys, when I was in Denver, they actually purchased bikes and actually ride because only Dan Reeves and John Elway had golf carts. Now later, once Mike Shanahan got there, he saw the problem that it was causing with the bicycles, guys stealing the bicycle, taking your chain off or stealing your tire. So what good is a bicycle with one tire, Skip? You can't go nowhere with it. So Mike says, to cut down confusion and fights, everybody's just going to be able to get rides on the golf carts.
And obviously, after a 2.5-hour practice in the sun, it's a little bit of a walk to the door.
Yeah. And Skip, you already made, you're like, okay, I just want to get on my bike, go. And your bike's gone. So you can see the problem, Skip. You're already on edge. You had 2-hour practice. Maybe you didn't have the best practice. But for me, Skip, did you see anything last night? And I know it's early. Did you see anything that convinced you, like, okay, this team's going to be different?
Just Micah Parsons. That's the only big difference. Well, because he's a huge difference.
Yeah, he is.
And look, did I enjoy seeing sort of inside the Dak-Zeke friendship? Sure, I did. And we got to see them in action with each other.
When you go buy me a go-yard bag?
I think you got about 12 of them already. Am I right?
I got that very bag.
There you go. Okay, I'm way ahead of you. Okay, and Dak, he is so guarded and so careful in his interviews. At least I got to see him behind the scenes a little bit. Right. And I got to see him get frustrated with McCarthy for not letting him have some more practice reps after their metrics had shown in the meeting after the practice before, his metrics were too high. It's 575. I don't know what that means on the GPS, how many steps he'd taken or whatever.
Yeah, they got all that stuff, Skip. Okay. Now they got the stuff in your pads and you know, how many steps did you take and how many miles did you run and how hot did you get. Right.
Okay. So the point was Dak got frustrated. And you could hear him muttering some F words at McCarthy. Right. But in the end, I'll give McCarthy credit on this. He was right because Dak, who's obviously been out with 2 surgeries, as he acknowledged last night, to his foot and his ankle, that he was overthrowing because he was throwing some rockets in those throwing drills where you have to throw it in the bags, you know?
Right.
He was cutting loose, and it was too much too soon.
Right.
And so something pulled a lat
Was he
muscle.
using too much arm? Was the foot still not healthy
maybe
enough
it's
that he could?
all arm and no body, no trunk.
Right.
I don't know. But the point was, McCarthy and the metrics were showing danger, and they were correct. Okay, so I enjoyed seeing some inside Dak that I'd never seen before.
Correct.
Okay, that leads to the one maybe for some uncomfortable scene, but it was the Fossil scene, and you grew up with young Fossil because he was the son of
his dad was my offensive coordinator, Jim Fossil, who passed away.
And Bones Fossil is obviously the special teams coach and sort of the character coach.
I think he's assistant head coach, isn't he?
He may be, but he's he's the character among the coaches because he's a little wacky, a little screwballish, and he'll gamble and do some things. A couple decisions he made last year, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, so all of a sudden they cut in, and we got a scene that makes Hard Knocks Hard Knocks. We got him discussing his vasectomy and vasectomy reversal.
Right.
And he's breaking it down for the special teams meeting, and they're all on the edge of their seats because they're kind of interested.
But when the narrator says this is the hard part about camp, the cuts. So I'm thinking about okay, he's going to talk about guys.
There was a little pun intended.
Right, Skip. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to explain to him look, there are going to be some,
Right, I did too. I was throwing a curveball.
And then I'm looking are they really? Is that really what would?
That's really what he's talking about. But that is real life. And trust me, those kinds of conversations go on in meeting rooms, in camps all around the league. But we never get to see them. We're not privy until the Hard Knocks camera is in there.
Right.
And I think Bones Fossil is a little bit of a showman, so he kind of knew he was on camera, and so he enjoyed getting into this discussion.
Explaining it to him.
Because it is a real life discussion.
Correct.
And again, a little uncomfortable to talk about or maybe even to watch, but it was intriguing because that makes that show that show, right? That's what you get to see that you would never get to see on any other show because it had absolutely nothing to do with football, right? The other thing that hits me, and maybe every team is like this, feel free to comment, but I have never heard so many F words in my life as my team, especially the new coordinator, Dan Quinn. It's like he cannot express himself with every form of the F word in every sentence has three forms. It can go adjective, noun, verb, just name it, and he's going to intersperse every other word for emphasis as if I can't communicate to these younger players. I can't get their attention without using this word every other word, right?
Yeah, that's how it is, Skip.
Okay.
Man, hey, man, what you mofos doing tonight?
Yeah.
Man, what time is that mofo meeting?
Yeah.
Well, so Skip, I mean, end this, end that. Man, y'all,
Okay.
So,
but the F word is just the word. Like you can't, you cannot communicate without using that word.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying I mind it, but after a while, I never heard so many.
Yeah, that's the way. Man, you try to be mindful because there are some people that are religious, like Randall. I played my last year with Randall Cunningham, and so you try to be mindful of him because he was very religious, and you try to be respectful. But as soon as he's out of earshot,
boom.
You know what it is. But Skip, I would like to what you saw with Parsons and the fullback. That's how it was because we're talking, we're chirping, knowing that we're going to have one-on-one blocking, pass catching. So we talking trash. Offense is trying to beat the defense. The defense talking about we whipped y'all. You know what? Yesterday, y'all not gonna get anything. Now. It was a whole different story in Baltimore because I was just trying not to get shut out in 2000. Because that 2000 Ravens defense, you saw what it was against everybody else.
I wouldn't want to practice against it, I can tell you that.
So we went up against that every day in practice. So I was like, come on, guys. I know they good, but damn. They're making us looking like high schoolers.
But it's hard for you to taunt that defense because you're not going to get any occasion.
Oh, I said we get a first down. That's a taunt. That's worthy of a taunt, Skip.
Yeah.
You got to understand what we were going to get. Yeah. But that's the thing that I would really like for Hard Knocks to focus on. Show more of the interaction. If you remember our Skip, they were showing guys getting taped and guys joking around because there's a lot of that. Because it's a grind. It really is a grind mentally to get up every day and knowing that somebody's dream is not going to get fulfilled.
Well, we're about to see that in episodes 2 and 3.
Yes.
See the literal cuts.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.